Welcome one, welcome all. We get a great showdown slate tonight between one great team and the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, that is the Buffalo Bills taking on the Baltimore Ravens here. And it's a battle of the two best mobile quarterbacks. We get Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. As always, I got Kurt here with me. He said he had the biggest sweats of his NFL DFS history. How was today, Kurt?
I mean, we didn't profit that much, but we profited. And it was fun to sweat. That's all you can really ask for in NFL. Just give me a sweat. And it was. So both slates, 2 sweats, and a college football sweat yesterday. Can't complain. I got the entertainment value out of it, which is all you can ask for football DFS because it is classic DFS. Showdown's where you can make your money.
As someone who played Kyler Murray on the main slate, I would say the entertainment factor was way down for me. I didn't have a good time at all. Mangone, how was your main slate today, and how are you doing?
I'll overall profit, I think, a little bit, but it's either going to be break even or profit. I don't know. It depends on this slate. I'll say that I need Dalton Kincaid to have a big game for my cash games because I made a pivot off Bowers, and I definitely need him to kind of get it done over on FanDuel. But this is a DraftKings show. We don't talk about that site. Okay, we talk about DraftKings, and you love this DraftKings showdown slate, Rubio. I don't completely love it. One thing I do think is interesting about this DraftKings showdown slate is I think whatever wins, I think there's going to be a weird winner. That's all. And I'm trying, when I look through my teams, I'm trying to find something that's unique, right? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Obviously it's not going to be a stupid team, but I just want to maybe it's Josh Allen with none of his pass catchers. And it's double tight end with Kincaid and Knox. I don't know. Right. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to look through Saber and figure it out while we're on the show and we'll talk about it together.
Yeah, that's what I am doing right now. I'm in SaberSim. If you guys want access to SaberSim, which is by far the best building tool that you can have for your lineups for any sport, really, but especially NFL, you can use code RPS15 if you want to choose the all packages that we got for it. Let's go ahead and dive into these positions here because we're going to go over quarterback, running back, pass catchers, and then special teams today. Some quick stats to throw at you guys real quick just for fun, all right? So during this season, who is last in the NFL against passing yards per game? Anyone have a guess? And go.
Baltimore Ravens?
Yes, the Baltimore Ravens. Great job. I'm glad you're paying attention. Great. They give up 291.7 passing yards per game, which is last by a large distance to second place. Who is first against rushing yards per game against?
I don't know. Is this segment sponsored by DraftKings, Rubio?
It is, but who is first?
I assume it's the Bills.
No, it's the Ravens. So we have a very clear pass funnel here. The Ravens only give up 50 yards rushing per game. So they are a very clear pass funnel through 3 games. They've been against the Chiefs, the Cowboys, and who was the second game they went against? The Raiders. So they went against 3 teams. One of those you wouldn't really recognize as one of a passing, offense at all in the Raiders, but they ended up throwing it all over them. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys last week were chasing the game a long time in the second half and ended up having 55 passing attempts. For the Bills, they are above average in passing yards per game against. They only give up about 168 yards per game through the air, which is impressive when you consider that they've been leading most of their games, and they've been doing that in great fashion. Outside of week 1, they've been really dominating. And even in week 1, they did that in the second half. So let's go ahead and go over the quarterbacks here. Kurt, I'm going to start with you. I got Josh Allen. I got Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna ask you a question. Can I even fade one today? I think the answer is no, but I think you have to have both in almost every lineup. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I didn't mute myself. When I'm muted on the computer, it's because you, motherfucker.
I swear, I don't touch it.
I got chain on. Look at me. I'm Mr. Chain. Fuck you.
You used to do this on the golf shows. This is a you problem. I'm telling you.
No, did anyone else see me reach my arms across here to the computer? No one did. You are screwing me.
Might be that third leg muted. I don't know.
That's the third leg.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll take that compliment. Anyways. I think the only scenario is you fade Lamar and maybe play Henry and just hope that all the goal line touchdowns go to Henry and then Lamar only has 60 yards rushing. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I could see where someone could talk themselves into, okay, Henry gets all the touchdowns, anything inside the 5-yard line, and that's your way of save 1,000 or 1,500, I think, or something like that. But yeah, that's about it for me. I think you just jam both and try to get weird.
Yeah, I think you have to jam both because look, we just saw Lamar go 14 times on the ground last game in a game that was kind of put away early in the first half. And he still ran the ball 14 times in that game for 87 yards and a touchdown. It feels like this season, especially, they're just like, Lamar's going to run the ball quite a bit, and that's not going to change. Mangone, is there any reason to not have one in captain? Because on the playbook, JBC, Bryce, and I all kind of agree that these are the only 2 captain options. However, you did rank 3 other guys.
Yeah, I rank 3 other guys because like I don't agree with that. So actually, does JBC have? And this is a little peek at the playbook, right? We can explain it. We have the captains, and it's you have rank 1 on Lamar, and then 2 on Allen, and you have fades on the rest. Is JBC the same exact as you?
Same exact. He has Lamar number 1 as well.
Okay, so like one of the reasons why I think that could be the case, and this is a good talking point with the slate as well, is like we just have no one to spend up on, right? Like if you just look at this slate, like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they're both 2 good spend ups. Then the other 3 actual spend up options are Flowers, Cook, and Henry. And like we obviously understand these running backs, they kind of have lower floors here. We know that if the Ravens are trailing, obviously Henry won't be as great. I mean, Henry's definitely the most game script sensitive player in the league. It's definitely one of those spots where, I mean, spending up for these options doesn't seem ideal. I think you just load up on the quarterbacks. I'm in agreement, but I also wanted, users to, hey, if they want to pick other captains, here are the options. And I don't think it's crazy to take some other cheap options. But if I do take one of those options, they need to have upside. Like the cheapest I would go is Rashad Bateman. I doubt I'm doing it, but we have seen like Isaiah Likely do it at times. It would have to be like a big play and just other options up top, not finding a way to get there. But for me, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are clearly the 2 captains that I think you want to be playing. And I'm not as high on like some of these other options up top, but I got to load up on Lamar and Allen.
Yeah, I mean, there's just this is the great thing about Showdown too, is that we're all going to be playing the quarterbacks tonight. I think you have to captain one of them because look at their wide receiver rooms too. I mean, Say Flowers is good and stuff, but they throw the ball to like 8 different dudes on each team. I mean, you look at the Ravens. Mark Andrews isn't even getting a significant amount of stats. Charlie Kolar led the tight end room in yards last week. So you really have a wide target trees basically for both quarterbacks, especially in the Bills case too. You got Shakir, Kincaid, Coleman. Then you had Valdez Scantling, Hollins, and Knox. All these guys are going to be able to get catches, and there isn't just a slam dunk wide receiver either. I just think they're the most obvious plays in the captain spot, and just move on. It sucks to not be different, but it's not worth getting different at captain or at fading one of these quarterbacks tonight, in my opinion. Running back time. I'm going to pose a question to you, Mangone. James Cook or Derrick Henry?
James Cook or Derrick. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I was like lagging and I muted myself like 6 different times, but we're back. So I have Derrick Henry as a fade. I don't typically like to play Derrick Henry. I also think this Buffalo Bills team is for real. I think they are going to be leading throughout this game. So I'm team Buffalo Bills. That's how I'm playing the script. So listen, if you are Snyder and sitting in the chat and all excited for the Ravens and the Ravens flock, you got all the boys next to each other, you're ready to roll, then play Derrick Henry. I'm just not playing for that script as much. I lowered his projection. I would rather get James Cook, who, listen, I think James Cook, I know we don't see him always get all the work in Buffalo and having to start this year, but when they're strong competitive games, I do think he's going to be the guy that does. Now, as the season goes on, someone like Ray Davis will definitely get more work, but I think they're just high on loading up on James Cook. So I think it's James Cook over Derrick Henry for sure. I like Justice Hill as a value, not as much as you do, but I still think he's a good value play for sure. And I don't love the Buffalo running backs. I see this as this is the game where James Cook gets like 90% of the snaps, and he just is out there for most of the time.
Yes, I'm with you on that. I do think James Cook shoulders a little bit of a larger load tonight because, look, last game was out of question after the first half. He didn't really need to play a whole lot. That led to a big Ray Davis and Ty Johnson second half, and Ray Davis ended up scoring that touchdown late in the fourth quarter. I don't have any interest in those secondary running backs. The only reason why I have interest in James Cook, despite going against the top rushing defense in the league, is because he can get it done in the air. I'm exactly hand in hand with you on Derrick Henry, though. And Kurt, I'm wondering the same thing. I think I would expect you to be off Henry as well because once the Bills go up, I mean, look, Henry scored in week 1. It wasn't in the winner. I mean, it's just not a guarantee that he's ever in the winner, even after getting a touchdown, and especially in a spot where you can expect him to trail. Do you have anything different there, Kurt?
I don't. I'm going to make a case for Henry, but I'm really not playing him. But I just wish he was a little bit cheaper. I know they talked. Harbaugh said he didn't bring him in here to give him like 30 carries. I know last week they were up the whole time, which is why he got his season high carries. But even against Las Vegas, when they were up big and they kind of let that comeback happen, I wonder if he kind of regretted not pounding Henry a little bit more in that game. I do think we see a high carry game once again, regardless of. I think they keep it. I think the Ravens win. So I don't think the Bills are going to get out and be up by like 20. I think it's going to be a competitive game throughout. I think Josh Allen's going to have a turnover. Something's going to keep his game close. So I do think that Henry gets absolutely pounded here. But I can't pay that price. Like, I mean, 1,000 more, and I can have Lamar. I'm not playing them together because that just seems like I would need a Ravens route. So, yeah, I don't know. I think he does get the ball a lot. So it kind of makes me think that, like, even better because I hope that Henry gets it because I don't want these other guys getting it. I don't want going to Andrews. I really want to go into Flowers, Henry, and Lamar. That's all the people I want to get. I don't want to go to Bateman because I don't want to play him. I want to play the cheap pass catchers for the Bills. So that's my take. I'm not playing him either, really.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'm kind of shocked about is that Derrick Henry's projected for 40% ownership if you include captain and flex, which I think is a little bit high. But at the same time, I think people love jamming in Derrick Henry. It's like that every single year.
Like you said earlier, I don't think he does. One touchdown doesn't do it.
Yep.
I kind of like I want him to get that one touchdown and then get like 11 fantasy points or something because I think I can still win without playing him.
Kurt, he can get 11 without getting that touchdown. We don't need to watch him get that bullshit touchdown.
And not to mention, if he doesn't get it, he's completely dead.
He can get it when he's got like 3 DK points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I'm in first place, and I need someone to get it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I don't want it early though. Let's not have it.
The entire thing of what I just said was trying to articulate that. So thank you.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping for too.
All right. So real quick, I did want to go over one case for Justice Hill, and there's a reason why I like him. It's because the Bills do concede a lot of passes to running backs. And if this is a trail script for Justice Hill, what did we see in week 1? Well, we saw Justice Hill kind of perform really well. And I had told you guys before the show started, I said, look, the slate kind of sucks for skill players. I mean, outside the wide receivers and tight ends, like no one has a very firm grip on a roll. I think Justice Hill in a trail script could sneakily get double digits. He's 5,400, won't be owned at all. I mean, people refuse to click on Justice Hill's name. I think 13% is right on Sabre. He's someone that I'm looking at just a little bit, and I think I would only do it in like scripts that make sense. Like I wouldn't do Justice Hill with Derrick Henry; that would be stupid. I wouldn't even do Justice Hill with heavy passing attack on the Bills. I'd almost just want to completely hone in on the Ravens trailing, and that's how Justice Hill would get there. Let's move on to the wide receivers here. So look at the wide receivers for the Bills. Keon Coleman, what was that first quarter? Was he suspended for the first quarter or something? Is that what it was? Like,
yeah, late to meetings.
Yeah, so late to team meetings. So they made him late to the game.
Can we shift, Kurt? Were you ever late to a team meeting in college and have to be benched? Did that ever happen to you?
So I was still like, I didn't like cardio at the time, so I was so terrified of having to do the punishment. So I was always early. I did not want to run. My fat ass did not want to do any more cardio. Now I'm like, fuck it, give me cardio. I won't be 5 minutes late. But no, back then I was like, hell no. I was probably like the first or second one of the meetings.
Really? That makes sense. A morning person like you, Kurt, you probably woke up with a smile on your face.
No, it's because my fat ass didn't want to do cardio and stuff. That's why I did not want to do
anything. Ready for the meetings. I mean, I can imagine that. Let's go ahead and just talk about these wide receivers, though, Kurt. Tell me, Khalil Shakir seems like the number one guy in Buffalo. Like consistent week in and week out. Josh Allen clearly trusts him. I'm disappointed with Dalton Kincaid. I don't really know exactly what their plan is, but at the same time, like throw away last game, right? Outside the first half, we saw a little bit of a glimpse for Dalton Kincaid in that first quarter, but it ended up being Shakir that outscored him. What are you doing with this Buffalo room? And then touch upon Zay Flowers, and then we're going to save the tight ends. Actually, save the tight ends for the next one because I think Andrews and Likely is a big combo to have later on.
I really think it's Shakir and Flowers, and then I want to get one of those two guys in. So you definitely want to get the two quarterbacks, and I would want one of the stud pass catchers. I think the floor is too good. Maybe one of them has a bad game. I find it very unlikely that one or the other doesn't hit the optimal because their floor is so well. I think they can both outscore Henry. But it's really the cheap pass catchers that get me. I'm not doing Bateman. I'm actually glad that he scored not too long ago, so I don't have to worry about that. If he scores again today, maybe I'll try to hedge by just having my dad throw a first touchdown or maybe an anytime touchdown bet on him. But yeah, Coleman, I don't know what, like, even though it was only the first quarter, his snaps were he still only played 31% of the snaps. And I know if you take away the first quarter, like you still think he would get up to 50, and he didn't. So I don't know what to do with that. Matt Collins is still playing an extreme amount. He's 2K. So I'm probably just going to roll the dice on Matt Collins, Dawson Knox, maybe Scantling, just one of those cheap guys, and just pray that one gets like 6 points.
The greatest thing about Matt Collins is his TikTok page is actually one of the most helpful things on the internet.
Max the maintenance guy. I love those videos.
The maintenance guy. It's crazy. You kind of learn a whole lot just watching those videos, like how to clean like your sink and stuff like that. I tell you, that's why I love Matt Collins.
I'm not going to do it, but I want to know how.
Exactly. It's good to know. It's good to know. Man, Goen, are you a big fan of Matt Collins too?
Oh no, this is. I feel like a boomer. I feel like I'm hanging out with like the cool kids. You know, pull up that GIF of the guy with the skateboard and the backwards hat. You know, acting like the cool kids. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
That checks out. What are you, like 40?
No, 33, but I feel 40. I'll tell you.
Wow, that's hurtful. Don't take that, man, Goen.
Oh, it's okay. I'm getting old. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got to embrace it at this point.
Yeah, well, tell me about these wide receivers then.
I like Rashad Bateman. Now I'm definitely a Rashad Bateman slappy. Like it's a problem for sure. But I just still think he's a solid play. So I want to like look specifically at some of these receiver ownerships because like I definitely think that Keon Coleman is the type of guy that's just not going to be owned. And honestly, on this slate, I want to play some weird stuff. Like I think we should embrace Keon Coleman a little bit. Him and like Curtis Samuel are the two guys I'm trying to figure out. Like everyone thinks they just think Shakir's the guy. Like Shakir, and of course we know, we understand every single game. Like if we go through the course of the season and you told me you could have one Buffalo Bills receiver, it's Khalil Shakir. Like I get it, but this is one game. And I just think we got to embrace some of these other options. I think Keon Coleman has more upside, so I'll embrace him. I do like the tight ends a little bit more than the Bills receivers, but that's how I would rank that. Of the studs, I really do like Zay Flowers. They're clearly scheming him open a lot more. They're just getting him in open space. I liked Rashee Rice today, and then he got hurt, and that pissed me off. But it's because of the way that they were scheming him without Isaiah Pacheco. And I know, yes, the Ravens have their running backs and all, but they are still scheming open Zay Flowers on those bubble screens, right? Just to get him into open space. So I think it is a good spot for Zay Flowers. So I like Flowers. I like Bateman. It's funny. I like the Ravens receivers, but I don't love the Bills receivers. I actually love their tight ends more. And I think Keon Coleman is definitely a good play. And Josh, I get it. Coleman is the worst value on the board. You are 100% right. If we look at projected ownership, right, on SaberSim, here are the Bills receivers projected ownership. Okay. Keon Coleman, 8%, Curtis Samuel, 16%, Khalil Shakir, 32%. It's just like, the gap's too wide. I'm sorry. It just is. So I am considering Keon Coleman teams because people do not want to click on it. And if you want to win on this slate, I think clicking on these kind of just gross builds is not the worst idea. Now, I'm not trying to leave $40,000 on the table or anything like that. But if you built a team, and this is Big T talks about this a lot on the shows, and I think it's a good call out. Like if you played, like let's say you played like Zay Flowers and you didn't play him and you just made Rashad Bateman over him and flopped it out. You could easily do that with these receivers, right? Take Khalil Shakir and then switch out Curtis Samuel and leave all the salary on the table, right? I just think it's not the craziest idea. So, and yeah, Justin, I get it. Matt Collins over Coleman. Yes, that's what we have seen so far. If you are playing what we have seen through week 1 and 3, you are not 1,000%.
Like this guy is still a rookie. I mean, we're like it's 3 games into the season. He's still getting like rapport with Allen. Allen didn't play in the preseason, so like these are like live reps they've not really gotten. I know last week, couldn't you see like him having a game? I love your point about how all year, yes, Shakir's going to be the most consistent. But one game, for one game, Coleman can't outscore him and have a higher impact. Why? He's a rookie. Can he not show flashes and have one game? What if all guys, the thing about NFL DFS is if we all knew the game plans 1 week in and week out, we'd all crush. There's some game plans that we have no idea what's going on. Like for all we know, the Bills could have a giant scheme to give Coleman just torch his matchup all night. We don't know. And with a wide receiver room is still kind of murky and stuff. Why not Coleman a week after he missed meetings or was late? Why not? You can see him talking about, oh, wow, after this game, last week, he was late to the meeting, blah, blah, blah.
And that's why I like Kincaid, who we'll get to, is like, we haven't seen the Bills in a game that's like, hey, like they're leaning on like their most competitive players. Like we've seen some like weird games out of them so far, right? Where they're just up. We haven't seen them in that like grinded out competitive games, really. So
We did in
I'm
week
excited
one,
to
and
see
that was
that.
the game that Keon Coleman did have the most targets on the team and led the team in receiving yards. So I don't
Yeah,
think it's out of bounds at all. And it is an ownership thing. Like, look, is he 4 times less likely to go off than Shakir? And the answer would be no. I mean, I would say 2 times less likely, but 8% ownership compared to 35% ownership is definitely something to consider. Real quick, I wanted to go over one stat for you real quick, and this is about Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. The number 2 team against wide receivers who line up out wide is the Buffalo Bills. They really have been locked down over the past 2 seasons on wide receivers that line up in wide alignment. They have been moving Zay Flowers into the slot a little bit more, but it has been Andrews and likely stealing the show a little bit more. Man, Gunn, does this scare you off Bateman just a little bit? Because he runs almost all his routes from out wide alignment.
I mean, I still think I'm biased towards him, so like I'll be honest about that. But like you could make the case that maybe Justin Tucker, that gives him a slight lean over him if you're like in that range. I know I have one team where I left the salary on the table and played Bateman over Tucker, so maybe I'll adjust that back. But I don't know. You're playing it for the big play upside, I guess. But yeah, overall that might make me like Zay Flowers even more, right? Because I hate Derrick Henry. I do think James Cook, and like I shipped one showdown with James Cook once, and it was against the Cowboys like last year. And it was a game that everyone discounted, like, they absolutely discounted the Bills, and they thought, oh, the Bills suck. This is when they were struggling and they owned them. Like, if you play James Cook captain, do not play it with Derrick Henry. I'll say that. That's not going to work. There's no reason for that to work together. And then just embrace like the trailing script, right? With Lamar Jackson, with Zay Flowers. That's definitely the way that I would do it. And the more you mention the Bateman thing, though, and I look at James Cook, I look at Henry, and I look at Flowers at the top, like those 3, it just seems so much more like a secure Zay Flowers spot. Like the more we just think it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all my builds I'm prioritizing. I think we need to have a conversation about Curtis Samuel. I feel like the best the Bills have looked all season was that first. I hate to say it, but that first quarter without Coleman. But Coleman doesn't really run out of the slot, so I'm confused with why Samuel had such a big impact on my eyeballs. Like it just seemed like they were just cooking as an offense, and all they had to do was swap out Coleman for Valdez-Scantling. But I just never. Once Coleman got in the game on the outside, we never saw that much like motion and action from Curtis Samuel in the slot, and I don't really understand why. And I don't understand why they were. Why is he not surpassing 27% of the snaps?
His injury to start the year, I think, hindered him in his ability to be like, click with the offense, learn the offense and everything. And I think that he's been someone who's a slow burn. But I'm with you, Kurt. I do like.
But it's not improved. Like the thing is, the snap, like there's not been a slight uptick in snap. And maybe it could be with the blowout last week. They're like, okay, no need to ramp him up now. I mean, is this the Curtis Samuel spot where he finally does get 50% of the snaps?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I do think using snap counts to last week, even over the last 2 weeks. Don't forget that third and fourth quarter against the Dolphins were almost meaningless.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So they've not had a close game since I personally think he's been close to 100%. So now he's 100%. If they didn't a close game, could we see? I mean, honestly, if he gets 50%, he looks really good in that offense. That Joe Brady offense. I can't really compare to who else Joe Brady has had in that slot type little scat role, but I like it.
Kurt, can I ask you a question? Can I do a segment sponsored by DraftKings.com, Kurt? Are you cool with that?
No.
Well, you're got to be cool with it, okay? So Curtis Samuel, as a former college football player here, Curtis Samuel had turf toe. Did you ever have turf toe, or any of your teammates? And how long did it take?
I was not fast enough to have turf toe.
Oh, okay.
Well, sorry, have you had turf toe? No, I don't know anyone's ever had turf toe.
All right. We got 24
minutes. I think he looked. Did you see him have any hindrance on it last week?
No,
I didn't think so.
No.
All right, tight ends here.
That fun bit didn't work out, so I'm sorry that didn't work out. Everyone,
my fat ass having turf toe. Like, come on, man.
All right, Mark Andrews barely played last week, and my favorite comment from was it John Harbaugh? He said, "I didn't even notice that Mark Andrews wasn't out there so much. We were in the lead or whatever." I just thought that wasn't a very inspiring quote. We want to give him the ball and stuff. He's an important piece of the offense, sure. All that coach speak. However, this offense since week 1, in terms of the tight end position, have not really produced at all. It's been Isaiah Likely playing the most. Charlie Kolar played a little bit, but Mark Andrews barely played last week. What are you doing with this tight end room? And then talk about the Bills, Dalton Kincaid especially. Van Gogh.
I like Dalton Kincaid. I'm taking my chances on him. We've talked about how he's supposed to be the guy like for this team. Like that's one reason they were okay with getting rid of, Stephon Diggs. And I mean, this just feels like the game where it's the Dalton Kincaid game. So I'm in on him. I think he's going to be a good play. I also like Dawson Knox as a value on the Showdown playbook. I put him as my third best value. And I think he's a really strong play for sure. So I like the double tight ends there. I don't love Mark Andrews, but I don't completely hate it. There's other guys in that range that I prefer. So I'm not getting to Mark Andrews as much. There's just guys cheaper that I kind of gravitate towards in that range. And then Isaiah Likely, he's another one that again, fine, but I just prefer the Bills tight ends more. So that's kind of where I'm at with this situation. Maybe you have some tight end stats that can help Rubio, but I think we're going to get a good Dalton Kincaid game. I hope we finally I hope this is the game that we finally see him break out. It would be great to see it on national TV, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I thought last game, especially against the Jaguars, after he scored early, I was like, oh, great. Dalton Kincaid was not chalk all that much on a 2-game slate, on that main slate. He was not chalk at all in the Showdown. I thought I had it made. And I ended up being a Shakir for Kincaid swap from having the optimal in that Showdown Mango. And I was kind of tilted that Shakir ended up beating out Kincaid. But my biggest thing with that is I think they want to feed him the ball. They just haven't had an opportunity to. If this game stays close, I think he's the biggest beneficiary out of anyone. I want to kick it over to Kurt here. Kurt, give me your take on this Ravens tight end room, please.
I don't know. I was honestly, I want to get ballsy and play the Andrews, kind of what Mangone's doing with Kincaid, but I don't know if I can. Likely's right there. The thing last week really messed me up. I think he's a fun GPP play if you're doing 20 max. I'd want to get over the field. But as far as single injury goes, I just don't know if I had the balls. And I think Likely's expensive. I don't know. I was hoping you guys would give me clarity.
I don't like these Ravens tight ends, and I was kind of shocked that just for him, Big T really loves Mark Andrews. JVC really loves Mark Andrews. I don't see it. What's there to be promising for him? Sure, he runs a lot in the slot, and Bills are weaker against the slot than the out wide. However, I mean, there's just a chance that he's just washed at this rate. I mean, I don't really think highly of him. I didn't think highly of him coming into the year. He went 4 for 51 against the Raiders, which is fine. I mean, I understand the price is cheap. But there's just a decent chance that it's a part-time tight end role in terms of being the top dog, and he's no longer the top dog. It happens. Isaiah Likely's good. They have a very good tight end room. I don't love it, but at 5,800, it makes sense. But at the same time, it's personally not for me in my main lineup. But I can see why people would be interested. I think, what's his ownership at, Mango? And I'm going to check Mark Andrews. So 20% ownership. I guess that's a fine stab. I mean, if you're hoping that maybe you see more of the Raiders game where he went 4 for 51, hoping he gets into the end zone, something like that could make a lot of sense. I do think I prefer Isaiah Likely straight up, though, and he is projected for about 12% ownership. Let me go ahead and go through these defense and kickers because I think they are very much in play tonight. Kurt, is Justin Tucker washed?
It's sad. Me and my friend were talking about it today. It's because you got Brandon Aubrey is just Brandon Aubrey and Younghoe Koo are just studs, and poor Tucker. He's the GOAT, but he's just washed. It's sad. I mean, poor guy can't even make 40 yards anymore. I think that does kind of hinder the ownership a little bit, but he's $5K and it's in an uncomfortable zone. The difference between the $200 that I can get just by going Bass is crazy, which usually when this happens, I'm like, okay, you know what? Don't force Tucker in because it usually means Tucker will go off. But yeah, I really do like the kickers. I'm just leaning Bass because the $200 is a big difference for me.
So we just got word that Kurt is filling his salary to the brim at 50K. So what are you going to do with that information, man?
Well, I did.
Yeah, I know you did. If that 200 is going a long way, you're filling that salary.
I probably assume you're just filling the salary for the most part today, but I mean, there's people in the chat that say you could leave 45,000 or something crazy, right? Or leave salary. I don't know. They didn't say 45,000, but
I was going to say, man, that's.
I'm just saying, there's people that are saying you could leave a couple grand off the table, but I mean, obviously, these kickers, I think they're both in play here. Actually, we should Can we check the weather? Do any of you
The
guys have
weather
that?
is good. The weather is good.
Okay, there's no winds or anything like that.
I think it was a 6 mile per hour wind.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to double check because I saw someone say it and I was like, I thought it was fake news, and at least
72 degrees, beautiful football weather.
perfect. Well, I like the kickers a little bit here. Now, the problem is if you look at that range, and that's where, like, if you look at the Showdown playbook, I'll pull it up now because I can give out my rankings for people. I went, what's it called? I went Bass 1, so I clearly like him. I have Bateman 2, who's one of the values that I liked. I really like Dawson Knox as a value, and then I have Hill, and then I have Tucker that's more field. So I'm going to lean, I mean, maybe the bias changes with Justin Tucker. I'm actually curious to see how much it starts to flip because I do see people on Twitter saying that Justin Tucker's washed, but I like Bass more than I like Justin Tucker. Hopefully I don't like flip the cards over and it's like, Justin Tucker's just like 10% now because that would be unfortunate because then I'd want more Justin Tucker. But I do think Bass is a really, really good play. And like I said, I'm buying in on this Bills team. I want to be heavier on the Bills side of the ball today.
Yep, very much so. I'm very toss them up. Whoever fits, good for me. I think the kickers are very good tonight because, like I mentioned, you're not finding a lot of consistency out of the pass catchers. Kickers just kind of fall in line. Any defense interest tonight? Going against two quarterbacks who certainly can throw up a duck every now and then, I should say. Defenses, anyone?
I think Josh Allen's got to have that funky turnover game, right?
Yeah, very much so. Lamar chasing a game usually leads to some turnovers too.
I mean, it's at home. It's a night game. Baltimore usually gets up for these type of stuff. I can see him turn over. I can see the Ravens D scoring one. The 3,600.
Yeah, mango.
I prefer the Bills D to the Ravens D, so that's my take on it.
Yeah,
I think the Bills D. Here's a hot take. I think the Bills D is overrated.
I think you're overrated. I mean, that is just
so
crazy.
Now. I'm not saying the Bills defense is terrible. I'm saying I don't think they're as good as how they're currently playing.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Make it clear. I'm not saying Bills is trash. I'm just saying I think they're playing a little bit over their head. They're coming this year without their two safeties. Lost one in free agency. Pryor's hurt. Matt Milano, their best makers out. I feel like it's not shown yet. I mean, I think it could show here.
All right, fair enough. All right. I kind of hope you're right because I like Lamar Captain the most because I think he's going to run the ball the most. Anything else that you guys want to talk about here? Let's go ahead and
let's talk about the defense for a second. Okay, so we know Jacksonville's broken. And then against Miami, that was a 2 injury game, correct?
Yep.
So that happened.
Wasn't that in the third or fourth quarter?
I thought it happened early third.
No. I'm
still
pretty sure. I
feel like if Miami played the whole game, they would have done a little bit better. And then Kyler's shitty ass put up 28 on him, or 34. I can't remember who won the game, but I think the defense is a little bit overrated. I think they're going to pound him tonight.
All right. Well, okay. That's certainly a take. I know who agrees with that take. Snyder saying the MVP is going to put him on skates.
I think they're going to pound the run game and then get the win. I don't think they're going to rout them. Let me be clear. I think they're going to pound it down their throat. Lamar's going to have a good game. They win by 3 or 4.
Fair enough. All right. Any questions? Go ahead and put them into the chat. Everyone playing most of their lineups with both quarterbacks. Yes, absolutely.
That is one way to get unique, by the way, is fading one of the quarterbacks.
That's a good way to lose too. Yeah.
I'm just talking about unique constructions. That's all I'm doing. I'm mentioning it. I'm just looking at, for instance, if I'm on Saber and let's say I look at my Josh Allen captain, okay, and I have 8 Josh Allen captains here. If I X out Lamar Jackson, which he's on 5 of them, let's just look at one of the teams I get. Can I say the whole team on the show, Ruby? Are we?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So one of the teams I get, and you tell me if this team is bad or not. It goes Josh Allen captain. It goes Cook, Flowers, Likely, Tucker, Bills defense. I mean, it's not crazy. I mean, it's not my favorite, but
this is one of the only Showdown slates where the more I built, the more I've liked the slate. Is anyone else kind of feeling that right now?
I love
No, I'm not. I'm not liking it the more.
Are you hating it more, Mango? Maybe it's because you're opting and doing a lot. Just from
he's a boomer. I mean, that's
hand builds.
No, I'm just trying to find more unique constructions, and I'm struggling this. DB said it's also unique to not play this slate. That's a good point. Very good point. I'm just trying to find like unique good constructions, and I'm like struggling to do that. So, but
fun one here. Favorite single entry captain? Well, it's one of the quarterbacks for sure. I think it's going to be Lamar or Josh Allen. That's very much so.
Here's a good question: if you didn't play Lamar or Josh Allen, who do you guys think is the best captain? If you didn't play either of those two, which one do you want?
I'd prefer to not play.
Play a different captain. I think a different captain actually is
Kincaid.
I think Kincaid or Andrews. I mean, or if actually I think Flowers kind of has a better floor, not the ceiling. But
yeah,
I think it has to be two tight ends.
My three would be Cook. It'd probably be Cook, Flowers, and then Kincaid. That's how I'd probably rank them.
Here's a fun one. My best lineup on Sabre in terms of RAROI for single entry has Matt Collins in it. Ooh, do I roll it, man? God.
I mean, I don't know. Why don't you ask your TikTok dude, Mac? Why don't you ask him?
You know what's funny? Who ran the most routes
man.
last week? Wait, who ran the most routes last week for the Bills? Matt Collins.
There you go.
I mean, it's kind of tempting because the Ravens defense, you want to hit them in the secondary, right? They're the worst passing defense in the league right now. This build gets exactly what I want on also has Zay Flowers. The problem is it doesn't have a kicker. And I do like the kickers today, but I shouldn't have to prioritize them. So that would be one thing. Any love for Aguilar? No love from us here, really. I mean, he's fine. I think he had the big play last week and stuff, but no, I'm not going to be going out of my way for Aguilar at all. Any love for kickers?
You said Ravens are the best. They're the best against the run, Rubio. You said
they've been the best against the run and the worst against the pass.
Okay,
that's kind of why I don't like. That's why I love having this one as Josh Allen cap, which I don't mind. Oh wait, no, I'm 100 off Bass in this lineup. That would have been a sick pivot I could have done. But yeah, basically Matt Collins out there exercising. If I had a better value on this slate, I think I'd eat it up on this one here. Yes, the Ravens are struggling versus the slot, as Snyder knows. They've also struggled really hard against wide receivers out wide. I mean, they've been struggling.
Curtis Samuel captain? Say what? Say what?
You know what build I get a ton? So I get Josh Allen captain, Lamar, Flowers, Justice Hill. Like that four, I get a ton. Is that super chalky, Rubio? Or
Justice Hill is not going to be super chalky.
Okay. I mean, it's probably because I X Henry and I bumped up Hill a little bit, so I'm sure that's a part of it.
Oh man, these teams look amazing. I don't know how you're hating on the slate, man, going because this one's like a Lamar Jackson captain build with Flowers and the Ravens defense, and it just follows like Samuel and Kincaid and stuff. That one looks really sick.
Wait a minute, I think that's what.
Send me it on Discord. I just want to see it. I'm not going
to have Bass in it. Is Bass in it?
No, it's the Ravens D.
Yeah, no, I have Ravens D with Bass, a really good one. I like.
Really? No, it doesn't have Bass. Oh, I don't know. No, it's not the same one, Kurt. Definitely not the same one.
Do we like King of Smack's idea, the MVS thing? That's a good question.
I think you rotate Knox and MVS in a couple of lineups.
21 routes last game compared to Hollins 24. Yeah.
MVS, Hollins, Knox. I think you rotate them because if one scores, bam.
I wish I had like an MVS team that I could find and like.
I have to scroll so far down to find our last combo, man. Sad.
Maybe it sounds like you haven't talked to me lately.
I was the one who sent the last message in there.
Did I ignore you or did you ignore me? Or did I?
I don't think either of us ignored each other. Just because I was trying to find it in Discord, but we've been texting more.
Gotcha. Well, I want to look at it because I'm just curious. I'm canceling some of my head-to-head stuff for tonight, so I'm just getting that out of the way now. I don't want to deal with it later.
I like it. Taking Matt Collins a receiving prop over 12.5 yards. I would say the fact that it's 12.5 yards is like, am I really going to play that dude in a main lineup?
Yeah, it's so gross. By the way, I do have a prop I did bet if people want it. I bet Josh Allen. I promise I bet it yesterday, so I don't know like if you're getting the line, but I bet Josh Allen's over at 29.5 rushing yards. If that's still around, you can grab it. I know someone in the chat said that they asked if I like the under because the Ravens have been good against runners, but I like the over for 29.5 on Josh Allen. So
I like
there
it.
You go.
I like
All right, 29.5 rushing yards over.
Man, the funny thing is I have an MBS lineup that I really, really like. Where is it at?
I'm with you on Zay Flowers. I moved over to the Zay Flowers lineup. I think, Mango.
I just think he's the best floor on the slate besides the quarterbacks.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Why fade him if they're going to be trailing and stuff? We saw in week 1 too. I mean, I know we're almost a month removed from that. How many targets did he get at the line of scrimmage? What was it, like 8? I think you're going to see something similar tonight too. And they can obviously, target him downfield and stuff. I just do think that's a really solid play.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm with you.
God, do I go Bills defense? Man, that's the problem.
DeMar Hamlin, baby.
Very much DeMar Hamlin. Didn't he get an interception last week?
He sadly did.
MVS captain gets you everyone you want.
Yes.
Redmond, really? I'm surprised.
It definitely does. I'm actually gonna look. I want to look at the.
This is a really good one. The MBS one's really good. Josh Allen captain with Shakir and Tucker. Ooh.
I'm just trying to find an MVS team. I just want to see what they look like with him in the flex.
I can get one up. I already have the 5,000 bill. Let's do it. All right. MVS cap. Does he appear in the pool?
Stop it.
Survey says yes. Oh,
Samuel has more upside than Valdez Scantling, right? Like if the Ravens bat against the slot, close game, maybe his snaps get upticked. Like if Valdez Scantling plays the same amount of snaps, doesn't mean he can smash. If Samuel gets 50% of snaps, he could smash this offense.
Yeah,
like 5 catches, 60 yards, and a tud. I don't know if that's smashing, but
here's a reception prop. It's on 2.5 for Curtis Samuel, and the others is just 1.5. So I mean, that's food for thought. Curtis Samuel is definitely the better play, straight up, but he's also more expensive.
Yeah, I do have I did put a Curtis Samuel one in there just not too long ago that I thought was unique.
Yeah, tell him, Javon. Tell him. Yeah, we all die on hills here. I died on the Roshan Hill two weeks ago. This is nothing.
Wait, are you talking about me?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if he gets more snaps, I liked his role.
Kurt's
in the
gonna
quarter.
Kurt's gonna be on the hill with turfs are screaming in pain.
The thing is, like, Samuel is like made of glass, so like, we need to stay healthy and also somehow get the snap uptick that I am hoping we see.
Do you guys want to hear a fun thing today? My top team in Sabre was a Tampa Bay Buccaneers stack. And I said no. That would hurt today. I was just like going over the top team in Sabre. I'm like, do I dare? I was so tilted by it too. I got it. I got my build man going. It's Mac Hollins. We're officially hitting the button on Mac Hollins. I'm gonna watch his TikToks all night.
Enjoy. Actually, I haven't looked at the team you said. I gotta find
Mac the maintenance man, baby. What time is lock? 8:15.
8:20.
Thank God.
We got 6 minutes.
Jake.
All right. You're muted, Kurt. No, I can't hear you still.
It's because I'm not talking to you.
All right. Any questions? Throw them in here. If not, we'll head out just a little bit early. Man, Gavin, I just sent you that team that I'm running.
Okay. Oh, the one you're running. Okay, let's look at it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of. Wait, no, that's the wrong team. Damn it. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I'm screwing up.
Yeah, what's new? All right.
I want to get weird at captain in my main. Someone talk me out of it.
No.
How have the Bills been against tight ends? I had the thing in front of me, but it's on a different tab. My phone.
They are good against that, and they're one of the best passing defenses in the league, so it's very tough to gauge.
King of Smack, I'm more likely to fade Henry over Cook. That's just my preference, but I get it. If you want to go the other way, it just depends. If you think the Ravens are winning, then you should play Henry, right? He's just so script sensitive. But I think the Bills are going to be up. I think Justice Hill will be getting the ball a little bit more. So yeah, that's kind of my lean.
Are you guys running kicker captain lineups?
Kicker captain lineups? No shot. Not tonight. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson only. That's terrible.
Was that Jake Anderson out of nowhere? Was that him?
From the top rope?
I knew that voice. I was like, I know that person.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, dude? What's the winner? Give us the winner for this?
That's what I said. I said, give it play of the day.
It's time for bed.
He's on Kurt time. He's been here for one day. He's gone Kurt time.
Yeah. Kurt snuggled up by halftime. He's knocked out. All right.
No,
Let's
that
go
freaking
ahead.
Georgia game kept me up last night until like mid third.
How about Wiley? 117,000.
That was awesome.
Uh,
Bro, my butthole would be so tight. That's crazy.
Christian, if you want me to talk you out of Justice Hill, it's not going to be on this show. I really like him tonight. I'm not getting him.
Thank you, King of Smack.
What was that? Oh, Samuel Cap. It's not bad. All right. Let's go ahead and head out of here, guys. Nothing happening. Let's get in time for kickoff. Maybe watch the Sunday Night Football song. I appreciate y'all for joining us. If one of us doesn't ship the main contest, well, I hope maybe it's a chop and we're all holding hands at the very end. Have a great rest of your day and good luck.